Okay, so welcome to another edition of my crypto investing challenge. And this is a challenge where I'm taking $200 and seeing what I can run it up to. And I thought during this video, I would share with you guys kind of a little bit about what tools I use to make trades. First of all, I am by no means an investment expert, nor do I have any specific trading. I'm just sharing with you a strategy that I'm sort of developing my own along with what I've read and learned on my own. And you can always invest on your own, do so at your own risk. You may lose all your money. So that being said, let me show you the tools that I like to use. So this page is from Crypto Watch, and there's a period in the watch, which is a really cool site that allows you to see these various cryptocurrencies and how they're trading over time, and allow you to make good decisions about whether or not you should invest. And when I first saw this screen, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to make this a little bigger. I was very intimidated by this screen, as I'm sure a lot of people probably are when they first see it. But after watching a few videos and walking through it and seeing it in action, it's not nearly as intimidating as one would think. So up here, you have basically the current currency that we are looking at. So if I go back to the Crypto Watch, if I just hover over it, you can see that it's actually showing me here Bitcoin in US dollars, BTC US dollars. And there's a bunch of different markets here that Gdax has, and Bitcoin markets you can look at. You can search all kinds of markets. There's actually 400 of them. And so you can look at different markets here on Crypto Watch to see, because there are different exchanges out there where prices are slightly different. But I'm actually looking at the Gdax markets because I use Gdax to trade. And so that's what I'm looking at for the four currencies that I'm tracking. And the cool thing is you can add those to a watch list. You see here I have a watch list. I have Bitcoin Cash, which is BCH in US dollars, Bitcoin in US dollars, Ethereum in US dollars, and LiteCoin. And you can see those four also stay up here at the top of the screen. So I can always kind of see what they're doing, which is pretty cool. Now, if you want to change, when I want to change to one, I will just basically click on it. So if I click on Ethereum, like right here over the price, now it will start showing me the Ethereum chart. So this is a great tool so you can kind of track what's going on, but that alone, just having the currencies up here doesn't really tell you much. So let's go back to Bitcoin for a moment, and I'm going to show you kind of some of the other screens that are up here. A lot of this is customizable, and I haven't played around with it too much, but you see you've got some arrows over here where you can minimize things, you can make them bigger. If you want to be able to see more or less of the screen, and you can see here where it changes to like a, I can make a section taller or shorter, just depending on what you want to see. So you can play around with that. But the primary screen I have here is the tracking of the Bitcoin. And this is something called a candlestick display. This is actually the Heiken Ashi candlesticks. And it basically just shows you the direction in a given time frame. Now, right here, you see you have a time frame button. You can do it in 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute increments, 15, all the way up to 1 week. Right now, I have it set on 1 hour. Why do I have it set on 1 hour? Well, basically, I have it set on 1 hour because over the period of an hour, some of the volatility can kind of work itself out a little more. When you do these shorter increments, like 1, 3, 5 minute, 15, it can be very volatile within those periods, and it can kind of lead you to some erroneous conclusions sometimes if you're not careful. So I like to see a whole hour's worth of trading to kind of see if there's really a trend in the price of a particular currency. But, choose whatever time frame you're comfortable with. Down here is the actual trading of the currency in question. And if I pinch, I can either zoom in or zoom out on this. I'm actually on a Mac, so I'm showing you what that kind of looks like. And each of these, you see this plus I have here in the middle of the screen. That shows you where your kind of pointer is, and you can change it to different tools. But right now it's on a plus. So right now I'm going to focus on this particular hour, which was, looks like 1 o'clock today. So you see the 1300 down here at the bottom of the screen. And in that hour, it looks like if you look up here at the open and close up here in this section right here, you will see that Bitcoin opened at 15,924. It hit a high of 16,128. It hit a low 15,775, and it closed at 1611, which was up 1.179% for the total. But there was a lot of selling volume during that time. And usually, you know, this is where it gets a little tricky for me, because price moves kind of, it can move a lot in any 1 hour, but these candlesticks, these markers, they basically show you how it's trending. Like you can see here, it hit a low down here of 15,775, and that was like right here. And then it hit the high of 16. I can't even see what it is. 236 it looks like, but it actually, there was just a high trade of 16,128. So it's a little confusing sometimes what this is showing you, because it's showing you over the whole period of that 1 hour what happened. So within that hour, you just kind of want to see what the trend is. So I'm going to zoom in, and you can see that like from right here at 10 a.m. to basically 1 o'clock, that, or 2 o'clock here, the price basically fell, because we started here at 10 a.m. The price was around 16.5, and then around 1 a.m. or 2 p.m. it was 16,131. So it dropped. It dropped over that time frame. So that was a drop of, you know, 16.5 down to 16.1. Not a huge drop, but a drop. So this kind of gives you an idea about where, you know, the price trends. You can see the price hasn't moved a lot over the last, you know, day or so. It was up here around 17,000, and then right now it's around 16.1. So it's dropped. It's trended down a little bit over the last 24 hours, but not a crazy amount. Down here is the actual volume of trades that have happened, and you can see when there's more like selling volume is these red ones. The white ones are when there's more buying. And basically just shows the volume of trades that happen. Like when there's a lot of selling volume, usually price goes down. As you can see here with these 3 bars right here, the price drop. Down here is a number called MACD, which kind of tries to put that volume in terms of a trend. And you can see like it's just been kind of low selling volume here for, you know, 24 hours or so for Bitcoin. And then lastly down here is an indicator I use called MFI, which is kind of shows you the money flowing in and out. And this gives it like it's this index number. You can see over here where it says 43, and it's moving as I move it. But right now it's around, looks like right now it's around 48 or 41. As this gets really low, it can indicate that Bitcoin is kind of, or a currency is kind of sold off, and that can be a good time to buy. When this gets really high up around 80, it can indicate it's overvalued and it's likely to drop. And we can see that if we kind of go back, and it actually turns a color. It's kind of hard to see on the screen, but it turns white. You can see here it was like 87, and it stayed up here for a while, but then it trended down over the next, you know, what is that, 12 hours or so, and it trended down all the way down to this point here, down to 16.2, because it was up here around, you know, approaching 17.2, and it dropped down to 16.2. So that can indicate this money flowing in when a currency is overbought or oversold. You can see here it was oversold, or was sold pretty low. It was a 24, and then there was a gradual run up as you go here, and the price, you know, jumped up to like looks like it closed around 15. It was around 14.7, and then up here it closed around 15.05. So it had a little run up there. And this is just another way that I use to try to indicate if a trade is going to happen or not. And you can go back in time and look at this, and you can see here like it was pretty highly, there was a lot of money flowing in right here through this period, and it stayed overbought here for a while, and then it kind of took a little dip, and you can see the volume went red. And, you know, it kind of goes through these peaks and valleys. So my goal with trading is to figure out where, you know, kind of the valley is. Like here was a valley, and you could have bought in here, you know, maybe around 1304, And if you would have held till here, it would have closed at 1406. You had a nice little run up there, several percent. So that's kind of my strategy. I'm looking for an area where the price drops and I can buy back in with an expectation that it'll go up, 1, 2, 3, 5, maybe even sometimes 10%. And I like to buy on these dips and then try to sell when it gets kind of overbought. So that way I'm kind of capturing as much. And the tricky part is to get out early enough. Like you could have gotten right here and see that it's really overbought. And if you stayed here, you'd have made a little more money if you kept holding. But at some point it took a little tumble back down. And that's where I won't say you're trying to time the market, but to some degree you are. You just don't want to, you're going to give up some profit with this method that I'm using on the top end, but you're also going to cut your loss on the bottom. A lot of people, what they'll do is when they see like, let me go back. What was it? A few weeks ago. We hit this point right here. This was on December 22nd. Bitcoin got down to 10,400. And what happened here was, there was kind of a panic. And if I pinch this in, you can see the volume really, the sellers are really going crazy here. And people panicked. But if you'd have bought back in down here near this bottom at 10,400, even 11,000, look at this nice run up you would have gotten up here all the way up to 15,000. And that was just in the span of about, 6 or 7 hours. So you literally would have made 50 or 60% on your money if you'd have bought here at the bottom at 10,400. And then once it got it wasn't even really that over bought at this point. It was, the MACD was only still around 42. But even if you would have sold up here kind of near the peak, this peak even at 15.4, I mean, that's almost a 50% return on your investment. So my strategy is really simple here. It's to buy when you hit these big valleys, like this big panic that we had a couple weeks back, and then just sell as it goes up. And I'll show you some other tools I'm using for that to try to figure that out. But I'm really using this MFI down here a lot, along with the volume, to kind of indicate, when a good buying opportunity is, which is after a dip, and then a good selling opportunity, which is after a nice run up. So hope that made sense, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.